Let's talk about iodine supplements. 72% of the world's population is deficient in iodine, and probably more than likely you are too. Check this out.
Dr. Paul Haider, Master Herbalist. Get healthy now.
Hi, Dr. Paul Haider, Master Herbalist here. Well, today I want to talk about iodine supplements. More than likely you are deficient in iodine. 72% of the world's population is deficient in iodine. And, really, iodine has gone down in our food supply by 50%. So it's like, wow, big deal. And goiter is going crazy where your thyroid starts to swell. And I've seen a tenfold increase in goiter in the last 2 years. Well, before we get into that, if you like what I do, please give me a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe. Also, if you want to keep away cancer, read my new book, Live a Cancer-Free Life. Live a Cancer-Free Life. You can Google that. It will come up. I want to thank all the thousands of you who have already bought a copy. And you can also get a Kindle copy if you want. And I have a 5-star rating on Amazon, and I really appreciate you helping me along in promoting the fact that we don't have to come down with cancer. Half of you, plus, will come down with cancer, and it's easier to prevent than to actually go through that disease for sure. Now, this happens to be Mary Ruth's Iodine Drops, and these are about $20, I think it was. And you take 1 or 2 drops. That gives you actually 2 drops gives you 250 micrograms, mcg, of iodine. And that's one way you can get your iodine, that's for sure. And lots of people, 72% of the population is deficient in the world in iodine. Dietary iodine has gone down 50%. 2 billion people are deficient in iodine in the world. And you may be deficient in iodine too, more than likely, because 3/4 of the world's population is deficient in iodine, and especially in the United States. And I've seen a tenfold increase in goiter in the last few years. And also thyroid disease. Now, this has a lot to do with thyroid disease, especially hypothyroid. And if we don't get enough iodine in our diet, we're going to have hypothyroidism, that's for sure. And we can end up with depression, and you can't lose weight, you have headaches, you have dry skin, you just can't get around, you have no energy, you have memory problems, menstrual problems, you have high cholesterol, also you're sensitive to the cold, and you have cold hands and feet, you have brain fog, thinning hair, well, it can give you shortness of breath and constipation, and also not good for your kidneys too, and muscle weakness and stiffness in your joints, all kinds of things. That's just a short list. So it also can play a role in childhood hypothyroidism. They don't grow very well. Kids are deficient in iodine. Also, they can't concentrate, and they have learning difficulties and mood problems, and that's a lot of kids out there. There's no doubt about that. It also, iodine plays a role in preventing cancer and helps to kill cancer cells. That's really important. Also, it helps with healing, the skin and fighting off infections in general in the body. So that's really important. Also, it helps to control sweating, and maybe if you're a profuse sweater, maybe you are low in iodine, and also helps to regulate your body temperature. And also, if you're one of these people who have a dry mouth all the time, they have all these things that you can take for that nowadays, you may just be low in iodine. And also helps to give us good brain function. And this is one of the major causes of mental disorders in the world. So, wow. Just amazing what a little bit of a lack of iodine can do. If you get this big goiter, one of my relatives, I remember as a kid, we went to LA. We lived in California at the time, and my father always had the winters off because he was a farmer. So we would go to, see Disney World and Disneyland, and also Knoxbury Farm and SeaWorld and things like that. And one of her relatives lives down there. We would go see them, and she had a huge goiter. I remember that as a kid. It was like, wow, this is terrible. But now goiter has raised its ugly head again, and not good. You don't need that disease for sure. And there's all kinds of problems. It can be connected to breast disease, stomach problems, and bone problems also with the lack of iodine. Also, you can have side effects from supplementing with iodine. There's very little in the way of taking it with food. Absolutely almost zip. If you get it with your food, and we'll talk about what foods you can have. Also, if you get a lot of it in your food, you eliminate it in your urine, so you just kind of, it passes through. Also, buying supplements like this, if you take it in a rational way, the American way is a little is good, a lot is better. That's not good with iodine. That's for sure. Take what they recommend on the bottle. This gives you 2 drops, gives you 250 micrograms. That's more than enough. We'll get into what doses that you should be taking also. And overdoses can give you goiter and hyperthyroidism and thyroiditis and thyroid cancer. That's not good. Some people are sensitive. If you ever had a person who was given an iodine contrast material when they were doing some x-rays and they had an allergic reaction, some people even die from it. Some people have skin sensitivities to it, and other people just have, if they're ingesting it, end up with allergies also. Those are very rare, but some people do. Also, iodized salt. Way back in the 30s and 40s, they saw all these people with goiter, and the government goes, we got to get rid of this. There's a huge lack of iodine in our food. So they started iodizing our salt, and all of a sudden the goiter disappeared. But now we're using Himalayan salt, sea salt, and all these different things. I'm not saying that those salts are bad in any way, shape, or form. I recommend you go back and 50-50 with some iodized salt. I think that's a great way to go. Also, you can get your trace minerals like I do with lots of good old chlorella. Great algae. Algae has a lot of trace elements in it, so that's really good. And also, it's really important that we take the right amount of iodine. For average child, it's 90 to 130 micrograms, so 90 to 130 depending on the age. For adults and teens, from the age of 14 to 18, 150 micrograms a day. Also, for pregnant women, they need a little bit more. Also, they have 220 micrograms per day. You can actually measure your iodine levels. There are particular tests that a doctor can do, and it's a urine test also to see where your iodine is at. And like I said, your body dumps the extra if you have too much. So an actual urine test, it should be between 100 to 200 micrograms per liter. So that's important. Also, if you're lower than 20, you need a lot of iodine. There's no doubt about that. 20 micrograms per liter of urine. So you really got to check that out. Common sources of iodine are, iodized salt. That's the first thing I would recommend. Check with the label, see if it's iodized. That has on the average 45 micrograms of iodine per gram of salt. So that, that's very little salt. Also food, there's vegetables and fruits and seaweed. Seaweed has a ton of iodine in it. And the average seaweed contains 200 micrograms of iodine. That gives you a full daily dose on an average in general. Also supplements that you can do, like this type of things. This is happens to be Mary Ruth's organic iodine. And you can buy that on Amazon, eBay, and health food store, that type of thing. Also, there's all kinds of different things that can help. Also, dried kelp. Dried kelp will give you anywhere from 11% to 2,000% of your daily needs of iodine. Iodized salt also gives you 71% of your daily needs of iodized iodine in your diet. So that's good because you're going to get some from your regular food intake also. Wakame, which is another wonderful seaweed. Seaweed is great. I have some here, in fact. Gives you 44% of your daily needs of iodine every day. Nori, which this is Nori, and I love this stuff. I'm not gonna eat it right now because I won't be able to talk. That gives you 29% of your daily needs of iodine. Lima beans give you 10%. Corn will give you, of course, organic. It will give you 9%. Prunes will give you 9%. Also, green peas will give you 6%. 4% of your daily needs. Also, chlorella will give you 4% of your daily needs. And bananas will give you 2% of your daily needs. So these are some other ways that you can get a little more iodine in your diet. It's really, really, really important. And like I said, if you're watching this, actually 3/4 of you are deficient in iodine. Not good. And if you feel you are, give me a call at 831-869-9119, 831-869-9119. Let's do a consultation. I ask for a $50 donation, and that gives you 4 or 5 months of wonderful, capability to connect with me and support to get you on a road of healing. And I have a man yesterday who really needs to lose about 100 pounds. And we're going to get him on the road. Actually, last week, starting Tuesday of last week, I had a man his name is Robert, and he had very high blood pressure. It was like 185 over 120. Not good. Taking 2 medications, not working well. And by yesterday, his blood pressure was down to normal. We had a breakthrough. Really great. And he's off his meds also. Great. Wonderful. I mean, that's a week's time. Just amazing. So we can make you healthy too. Have a great day. Remember God, and remember, I love you.